Hi, my name is Ariana, and I'm the Citizen Action Campaign Director. And today I'm going to be presenting our campaign to restore U.S. federal leadership on climate policy. So, the United States is at a really critical crossroad right now for climate action. After a period of progress, recent federal discussions have reversed key policies. The U.S. has withdrawn from the Paris Agreement, paused clean energy authorizations, and suspended funding for renewable projects. These actions are threatening our ability to meet our nationally determined contribution at 50 to 52% reduction in emissions by 2030 and up to 66% by 2035. The Inflation Reduction Act was a historic step, but as data shows, it is not enough on its own. And without additional federal action, we are projected to fall short of our climate commitments, which puts both our global credibility and our domestic well being at risk. So, why does this even matter in the first place? Climate issue is not just an environmental issue, it is a direct threat to our health, economy, and national security. And as shown in this, the US is already experiencing more frequent wildfires, hurricanes, and droughts, and these disasters have cost our country over $165 billion in damages just in the last year. Air pollution from fossil fuels causes thousands of premature deaths annually, and climate driven crop failures threaten food security as well. And if we fail to act, these impacts will continue to intensify, affecting every community in the United States. Our campaign's position is pretty clear. The federal government must reclaim its leadership on climate, and we demand for urgent actions. First, the U.S. must immediately rejoin the Paris Agreement and restore international climate cooperation. Second, we need to expand and fully implement the Inflation Reduction Act and other clean energy investments, accelerating the transition away from fossil fuels. Third, we must halt all new fossil fuel extraction on federal lands, which is a major source of emissions. And finally, we need to strengthen the EPA's authority to regulate emissions in the power, transportation, and industrial sectors. In Congress, we plan on targeting the House Energy and Commerce Committee and the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee, which oversee climate and energy policy. We will lobby for hearings on the consequences of climate rollbacks and push for new legislation that locks in emissions targets and clean energy standards, making them less vulnerable to executive reversal. In the executive branch, we are going to be urging the EPA to use its rulemaking authority under the Clean Air Act to set strict emission standards, even in the face of political opposition. In the judicial branch, we are partnering with state authorities, general and environmental organizations to challenge unlawful rollbacks in federal courts. These courts can use their judicial review to block or delay harmful actions and uphold strong climate regulations. Policy change does require public support as well, and we plan on launching a national media campaign to highlight the economic, health, and security risks of climate inaction. We'll share stories of communities already affected by climate disasters and spotlight the jobs and opportunities created by clean energy. We'll build broad coalitions, including labor unions, businesses, health professionals, and environmental groups, to show that Americans from every sector support bold climate action. And polls consistently show that a majority of Americans want the government to do more on climate, so our campaign will turn that support into pressure on policymakers themselves. Our strategy is rooted in the structure of the U.S. government. The separation of powers means that Congress, the executive branch, and the judiciary each play a unique role. Congress can pass strong, lasting laws but faces partisan divides. The executive branch, through agencies like the EPA, can act quickly with regulations but is checked by Congress and the courts. The judiciary interprets the law and can block or uphold government actions. And by working across all three branches, we can overcome obstacles and ensure that climate action is durable and effective no matter which party controls the White House. In terms of targeted organizations, we're focusing on these organizations: the Environmental Protection Agency for its authority to regulate and enforce emission standards, the Department of Energy, which funds research and deployment of clean energy technologies, congressional committees, which have the power to write and pass climate legislation, state attorney generals who can defend climate policies in court and challenge rollbacks, and finally, state governors who can advance ambitious climate action at the state level, especially when federal leadership is lacking. So, the stakes for the U.S. climate policy have never been higher. Without strong federal leadership, we risk catastrophic impacts for future generations to come. But with coordinated action using every branch and level of government, building public support, and forging strong coalitions, we can restore U.S. climate leadership and secure a safer and more prosperous future. And our campaign is committed to making this a reality. Now is the time to act, and I urge you to join our campaign. Contact your representatives, share our message, and demand that federal government take bold climate action. Together, we can protect our communities, our economy, and our planet for the future. Thank you.